Have you ever had one of those moments that seemed so small, but then it hit you like a freight train? I remember mine exactly. It was a Tuesday afternoon, nothing special. I was walking through my Kitcheno obstacles, no distractions, just heading for a glass of water. And then I stumbled. Just a tiny misstep. I caught myself, thank goodness. I didn't fall. No bruises, no broken bones. But in that moment, something deeper shifted. A quiet voice inside me whispered, "What if you hadn't caught yourself? What if next time you do fall?" That moment has stayed with me ever since. Because losing your balance, it's not just about tripping. It's not just about being clumsy. It's about something bigger. It's about confidence. It's about independence. It's about safety. Now, if you're a woman in your 60s, or maybe like me in your 70s zoo, probably know this feeling. That little hesitation before stepping off a curb. The quick glance around to see if there's anything to hold on to when walking down the hallway. You tell yourself you're being cautious, smart, but deep down, maybe, you're a little scared too. Here's the part that truly shocked me. Doctors now say that 99% of older women will face balance issues at some point. Let me repeat that. 99 out of 100. That's practically all of us. But here's the twist that gives me hope, and I hope it gives you hope too. Most of these issues aren't caused by aging alone. They're caused by little habits, things we do or don't do every single day. And those we can change. That's what this video is all about. Today, I'm going to walk with you, walk with you through 8 common mistakes that slowly and silently chip away at your balance. Mistakes that could be stealing your freedom, your stability, and your peace of mind without you even realizing it. Some of them are subtle, some of them may surprise you, and one of them, mistake number 6, is the exact reason I nearly ended up face first on the kitchen floor. It was my wake-up call, and I want to make sure it doesn't have to be yours. Let me say this clearly, especially if you've been feeling a little more wobbly lately, or if you've had a close call like I did, you are not alone. And, more importantly, you are not powerless. We're not here to shame ourselves or dwell on what's wrong. We're here to learn, adjust, and protect what matters most: confidence, our independence, and our ability to live fully and freely. Because you deserve to feel steady on your feet. You deserve to walk through your homie or down the grocery store aisle without second-guessing every step. You deserve to live your life without fear of falling. So, let's do this together. I'll walk you through each of these 8 sneaky mistakes, what they are, why they matter, and most importantly, what you can do about them starting today. And trust me, the changes are simpler than you think. You don't need to join a gym or change your entire routine. Just a few small shifts in how you move, what you wear, what you notice, can make a huge difference. And before we jump into mistake number 1, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. When was the last time you felt off balance? What happened? How did it make you feel? Your story might just help someone else feel less alone in theirs. All right, deep breath, shoulders back. Let's begin this journey together, one solid, confident step at a time. Mistake number 1. It all starts at your feet. Part 1. Wearing the wrong shoes. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you really thought about your shoes? Not just how they look, but how they feel. Because if you're anything like I was, you probably slip into the same old pair every morning and don't give it a second thought. But here's the truth. The wrong shoes might be quietly putting you at risk. As we age, the shape of our feet changes. The fat pads that used to cushion our steps, they thin out. Our arches flatten, our muscles get weaker, and suddenly, those once comfy flats or loafers turn into tripping hazards. I remember nearly face-planting into a rose bush just because my ballet flat snagged on uneven pavement. That day changed everything for me. I learned that good shoes aren't just about comfort, they're about safety. So what should we look for? First, a non-slip sole is a must. That means no slick bottoms or worn-out tread. Second, you want structure, something that hugs your ankle and supports your arch. Third, don't underestimate cushioning. A little memory foam goes a long way, especially on hard surfaces like tile or concrete. And finally, fit. Too tight, and you're in pain. Too loose, and you're at risk of falling. Even at home, ditch the floppy slippers. I used to wear mine everywhere, thinking they were cozy. But once I slipped with a laundry basket in my arms, I made the switch to house shoes with real grip. Trust me, it's worth it. Because shoes aren't just fashion when you're over 60, they're the foundation for every safe, confident step you take. Part 2. Skipping strength training. Now let's talk about something that might sound intimidating but is actually simpler than you think. Strength training. I used to believe it wasn't for people like me. I thought it meant gyms, loud music, and lifting heavy weights. But strength training is about something much more important, keeping our bodies capable and responsive. After 50, we start losing muscle mass every single year, not just a little, enough to affect how easily we stand, walk, or even get out of bed. One day, I noticed I had to push off with both hands to rise from a low chair. That was my wake-up call. Since then, I've learned that a few simple exercises at home can change everything. Arm curls with light dumbbells, wall push-ups, seated leg lifts just 10 to 15 minutes a few times a week. It doesn't require special gear or a gym membership. It just takes consistency. What surprised me most? How quickly I noticed the difference. Carrying groceries got easier, climbing stairs didn't leave me breathless, and when I stumbled, my body actually reacted fast enough to catch me. That's the real win. Because strength isn't just about muscles, it's about freedom. It's about being able to trust your body to support you so you can keep doing the things you love without fear. Part 3. Ignoring vision changes. Have you ever missed a step in dim lighting or bumped into a corner you thought you had more room to pass? I used to think I was just clumsy. Turns out, my eyes were telling me something my brain hadn't caught up with yet. My vision was changing. And here's something I wish I knew: sooner balance and vision are deeply connected. Our eyes help our brains map out the space around us. They help us judge depth, detect obstacles, and stay oriented. But as we age, even small changes in our eyesight can throw us off. I learned this the hard way after a midnight trip to the bathroom ended with a bruised knee from missing a rug corner. That fall pushed me to schedule an eye exam, and I'm glad I did. My prescription had changed. I also discovered that adding anti-glare lenses and improving my lighting at home made a world of difference. Now, I have night lights in the hallway, bathroom, and bedroom. I replaced dim bulbs with brighter, warmer ones. And I clean my glasses regularly, a simple step that helps more than you might think. So here's the takeaway. If your vision is even slightly off, your sense of balance is too. Don't wait for a fall to realize it. Get your eyes checked, keep your glasses up to date, and brighten up your home. Because staying upright starts with seeing clearly. Part 4. Ignoring medication side effects. Let's talk about something many of us overlook: our medications. Now, I'm not saying you should toss out your pills, but have you ever stopped to read those little side effect warnings? I didn't. At least not until a simple blood pressure pill made me feel like the room was slightly spinning every time I stood up. Turns out, dizziness is a common side effect for many medications, especially those for blood pressure or anxiety. And the older we get, the more sensitive we become. Our bodies metabolize drugs differently. A dose that worked great at 50 might be too strong at 70. That's why it's critical to track your symptoms. Write down if you feel dizzy, foggy, or unsteady, and talk to your doctor. Bring a full list of everything you take, even vitamins or supplements. It's not overreacting, it's being smart. A small dosage change or medication switch could be all it takes to bring your balance back and restore your confidence. Part 5. Relying on furniture instead of using a cane. For the longest time, I convinced myself I didn't need a cane. I'd catch myself with a countertop, lean on the back of a chair, and pretend everything was fine. Sound familiar? That behavior has a name: furniture walking. And while it may feel harmless, it's actually a red flag. One day, carrying a laundry basket, my hands full, I couldn't grab anything to steady myself. I stumbled hard and nearly hit the floor. That moment made me rethink things. I found a beautiful cane-lightweight floral print, something that made me smile. And you know what? I felt more stable, more confident. Nobody looked at me with pity. In fact, they admired the cane. Using a cane isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing stability and peace of mind over vanity. If you've been reaching for furniture more often, consider this your signet might be time for some extra support. Part 6. Skipping balance exercises. Balance isn't just something you're born with, it's something you can train. And for years, I didn't know that. I assumed balance would just stick around as long as I stayed active. But one visit to a senior wellness class changed everything. We did heel-to-toe walks, stood on one leg, shifted weight back and forth, and I wobbled like I was on a boat. It was humbling, but also motivating. I began incorporating tiny balance exercises into my day, standing on one foot while brushing my teeth, walking a straight line down the hallway, or gently rocking side to side while holding a chair. No gym membership required, just a few minutes a day. Within weeks, I noticed a difference. I moved more confidently, caught myself quicker when I stumbled, and even danced again in the kitchen. Balance isn't about age, it's about attention, and it's never too late to start paying attention. Part 7. Not drinking enough water. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you drank a glass of water? Just plain water, not tea or coffee. If you're like I used to be, your answer might surprise you. You see, for years I thought I was staying hydrated just fine. A cup of coffee in the morning, maybe a glass of iced tea in the afternoon, and a sip of water with dinner. But what I didn't realize was that caffeine can actually dehydrate you. And that slow, creeping dehydration? It was quietly stealing my balance. Mild dehydration doesn't always feel dramatic. You don't necessarily get thirsty. In fact, as we age, our body's thirst signals become weaker. That means you can be low on fluids and not even know it until you feel dizzy when standing, lightheaded walking down the stairs, or even unsteady getting out of bed. For me, it started with afternoon fatigue. Then one day, I stood up too fast and had to catch myself on the wall. That moment made me rethink everything. Now, I keep a water bottle by my favorite chair, one on my nightstand, and even one in my bag when I go out. I aim for at least 6 to 8 cups of actual water every day. Not soda, not juice, water. And if plain water doesn't excite you, try adding lemon, cucumber, or a few berries for flavor. Herbal teas count too, as long as they're caffeine-free. It sounds simple, right? But staying hydrated makes a huge difference, just in energy or skin health, but in balance. It keeps your blood pressure steady, your muscles responsive, and your brain alert. And when your body has enough water, it can better protect you from unexpected stumbles or fatigue. So before you reach for your third cup of coffee, ask yourself, have I had enough water today? Part 8. Living in a fall. Unfriendly home. We all know our homes like the back of our hand, right? Every hallway, every rug, every step from room to room feels familiar. But that familiarity can be dangerous. I learned that the hard way one morning carrying a laundry basket. My foot caught the edge of a rug I had walked over 1,000 times, and down I went. It wasn't a hard fall, thankfully, but it was a wake-up call. The truth is, most falls happen at home, and they're not always from dramatic accidents. It's the tiny things: loose rugs, electrical cords, poor lighting, cluttered pathways, things we've lived with for years, but our bodies now respond too differently. I used to think I was just clumsy, but really, my home wasn't working with me anymore, it was working against me. So I made a few changes. I added non-slip mats in the bathroom. I installed a grab bar by the toilet and one in the shower. I replaced dim bulbs with bright, warm LED lights and added night lights in the hallway and bedroom. None of this was expensive, but the peace of mind it brought? Priceless. If you haven't done a home safety check in years, now's the time. Look at your space like someone visiting for the first time. Where are the tripping hazards? What could make your daily movements easier, safer, more confident? Because here's the thing. Making your home safer isn't giving in, it's giving yourself freedom. Freedom to move without fear. Freedom to live independently longer. You've earned that. Part 9. Holding back from asking for help. Let's talk about something we don't always like to admit, asking for help, whether it's pride, fear of burdening others, or just not wanting to feel old. Many of us hesitate to reach out. I know I did. For the longest time, I struggled silently with my balance. I'd grip countertops, avoid stairs, skip outings. But I never told Agnonino, my doctor, not my family. I didn't want them to worry. I didn't want to feel like a burden. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't make you strong. It makes you vulnerable. I realized that the moment I finally opened up to my daughter, I told her I was having trouble navigating the steps outside. You know what happened? She didn't look at me with pity. She looked at me with love. Within a week, she had installed a handrail. Just like that. One conversation changed everything. Whether it's talking to your doctor about dizziness, asking a neighbor to help rearrange furniture, or joining a local balance class, speaking up is not weakness, it's wisdom. There are so many resources out there, from physical therapy to community programs to friends who simply want to help. But no one can support you if they don't know you need it. So let me ask you this. Is there something you've been struggling with quietly? A moment of unsteadiness? A fear you haven't shared? Maybe today's the day to talk about it, because you're not alone. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is say 4 simple words, I need some help. Part 10. Small actions, big rewards. So here we are, at the end of this journey. We've talked about 9 everyday mistakes that may seem small on the surface things, like wearing the wrong shoes, forgetting to hydrate, or skipping strength exercises. But when you put them all together, they can quietly chip away at something incredibly precious: your balance, your confidence, and your independence. And I want to pause for a moment and really let that sink in. Because here's the truth no one told us when we were younger. Aging doesn't mean we automatically become fragile or helpless. Most of the balance issues we face after 60, they're not inevitable. They're not some guaranteed part of getting older. In fact, many of them are the result of habit habits we formed without even realizing, or things we've overlooked because life was busy and no one ever warned us they mattered. But now you know, and knowing gives you power. Every one of these 9 mistakes each noise, something you can begin to address today, not with a giant life overhaul, not with expensive gear or complicated routines, but with small, meaningful changes. It might mean finally replacing those worn-out slippers with shoes that actually support your feet. It might mean picking up a pair of light dumbbells at the store and keeping them next to your couch for a few minutes of strength training while you watch TV. It might mean scheduling that eye exam you've been putting off, or walking through your home with a fresh perspective and removing that rug that catches your toe every time. It might mean drinking 1 more glass of water than you usually do, or asking someone to install a grab bar in the bathroom. None of these things require a dramatic transformation. They just require a choice, a decision to care for yourself the same way you've probably spent a lifetime caring for others. You see, when we make these choices, these tiny acts of self-care, we're not giving up our independence. We're protecting it. We're saying, I want to keep moving through life with strength, stability, and peace of mind. And I know it can feel vulnerable to admit that something isn't working the way it used to. It takes courage to look at your daily routine and say, this might be holding me back. But that vulnerability, that honesty, that's where real change begins. You are not weak for wanting to feel steady. You are wise for preparing. You are not fragile for being cautious. You are brave for facing these challenges head-on. So here's my question for you, and I truly hope you'll answer in the comments below. Which of these 9 mistakes surprised you the most? Was there one that made you pause and say, "Oh, I do that all the time"? And more importantly, what's one small change you're going to start with today? Because that's where it all begins, not with a giant leap, but with one single step in the right direction. And remember, if you're making that change, you're not alone. There's a whole community of people just like you who are navigating this same stage of life, facing the same fears, and finding the same strength. You are part of that community. You belong here. And your story, yes, yours might just inspire someone else to take that step too. So if this video helped you, if it made you feel seen or encouraged, would you do me a favor? Hit that like button so more people can find it. And if you want more videos like this, more real talk, more practical tips, more heart-to-heart encouragement, don't forget to subscribe. This isn't just a channel. This is a space for you to feel empowered, informed, and connected. Because your health, your balance, your confidence, they matter. You matter. Thanks for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself gently, patiently, and with love. You've come so far already, and the path ahead, it can still be steady, strong, and full of life. You've got this.